Hey folks, today I'm with Weston Hutchins, Head of Product, Applied AI and Developer Experience, and we are here to talk about Databricks Assistant. This feature has been unveiled almost, I think, 1 year ago, and here I have the pleasure to have Weston with us. Hi Weston,
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, things are exciting. Assistant is we got a lot of cool features coming out, so it's just been a really fun space to be a product manager for.
Yeah, and I remember I talked with you the first time, I think 1 year ago. I had really, like, when I released the recording about getting started with Databricks Assistant, and a lot of people were requesting this feature because it was something exciting, and I've seen like the number of users keep growing, and I've seen so many people using it. So can you tell us more about the assistant, how it did start, and all the changes that did happen for the last 12 months?
Yeah, absolutely. We started our assistant journey about a year and a half ago. And this was about the time when ChatGPT came out. Copilot was seeing a lot of adoption, and we had a lot of requests from our customers to build AI productivity features inside Databricks. And we spun up a team and started prototyping. And what we found really quickly is that by bringing AI into Databricks and into UnityCatalog, we were able to offer some pretty unique experiences. Most of the original Databricks Assistant has been like really, really focused on authoring, code authoring, query authoring, dashboard authoring, the types of features that customers hit every single day. In fact, our most used feature by far is diagnose error. Everybody hits errors inside their coding environment. The assistant is extremely good at resolving some of those and fixing those automatically. And we actually have some improvements that I can showcase that are new coming to that even make it better. But I think when we started for authoring and then we unveiled it at Data and AI Summit last year, the we had an overwhelming amount of interest in it, and I think it's been the fastest growing product in Databricks history. There's over 150,000 monthly users on it. We're seeing a ton of pickup from across all of our accounts, and we really, the exciting thing that we've done in the last year is one, just continue to improve the quality of the responses, make sure that we are pulling in the most accurate Databricks docs and samples into these experiences, but also a big goal for us is bringing the assistant outside of just the authoring surface. So, one of the things, if you've been using it for a while, you'll probably notice is it moved from the left side as like a panel inside, your notebook and SQL editor off to the right. And, a big reason for this is we wanted the assistant to be available throughout Databricks. And so, one of the first experiences that we launched is diagnose job errors, where you can actually use it on a jobs error diagnosis. You can use it on a jobs page and see if there's an error. It will help you diagnose those. But we're also integrating it into search. We're integrating it into our catalog explorer page. Eventually, we'll start bringing it to other pages across Databricks. So we're really excited to see the types of AI experiences that other teams and product managers start to design around this. Like Assistant is really turning in from a productivity coding authoring tool to a more general purpose platform across Databricks, powered by a lot of data intelligence engine, our compound AI system that takes in all of this and all this metadata and actually generates our responses.
And it did help me a lot. And trust me, the fact that like they moved the assistant from the left to the right was massive, because whenever I wanted to use assistant, I needed to go either to a notebook or Databricks SQL workbench, like to ask some questions, and I needed to switch from those two, let's say, two tabs to have the assistant. Now that it's on the right, so it tracks all my, let's say, questions, and I can switch from different notebooks, and I will still have the same context, which is very important. In my case, I use it a lot for documentation, because I know whenever we have a new release, we all those details are there, and I can ask questions about, I don't know, volumes, about fine tuning, and I will have the right answer, but also improving the productivity, because I do a lot of copy pasting, and I forgot a lot to add commas at the end, as everyone, or maybe forgot the group by at the end for some reason, because I'm thinking about something else, and the assistant can help me fix this problem quickly, or maybe when I become lazy, asking, okay, can you translate this SQL to Python, or the opposite, just to make sure, or maybe because I have some issues with some, I don't know, sometimes I remember weird error messages. It was hard for me to troubleshoot. They just copy paste. Now you no longer need to copy paste. It captured the errors and troubleshoot it for you. And this is also something interesting.
Yeah,
And
just to like interrupt, you mentioned something about asking for help. One of the things we ran into that's sort of interesting with Databricks Assistant is a lot of the LLMs that we were leveraging, both like, internally hosted ones and partner powered ones, they didn't know about new Databricks features. They hadn't been indexed, right? So if we were launching something and you were to ask, hey, tell me about, AI BI dashboards, it wouldn't know. So like one of the things we learned pretty early on is we had to build our own vector databases and other retrieval systems that were constantly being fed into these models as RAGs, so that they knew about the latest and greatest Databricks features. So that was like a big learning for us. Is we've improved the quality of our help responses quite a bit over the last year.
indeed, and I couldn't agree more with you. And I've also seen like several changes since the first release. Can you tell us more about this threading and other features that has been recently added?
Yeah, so as we move the assistant out of a docked notebook or a docked SQL editor panel and into a global experience across all of Databricks, one of the things we saw when people were using it is this need for a different user experience pattern of interacting with the assistant, mainly because if you're in a notebook, you want to retain a lot of the context that you had from your last editing flow. Like you probably already have a bunch of prompts that you saved. Maybe you've, worked with the assistant. A lot of the assistant interactions are pretty iterative. So you'll go and say, maybe ask it to generate some regular expressions for you. Spend some time tweaking that. Get the prompts just how you like it. You want to save that state. You don't want to have to recreate that every time you open up Databricks as you're doing work for the rest of the week. So we found this need for an interrupt-driven way of starting new conversations, similar to what you would find in a lot of the other LLMs out there. But you can hit a new thread. It will allow you to create and start a new conversation. So for instance, if you're working and you get an email that a job has failed, you can open up Databricks. Rather than losing the work that you're currently doing, you can start a new thread. It will help you diagnose those job failures. You can check that back in, and then when you're ready, you can go back to your previous thread and resume your work. And so that was a big part of this experience of moving to not just a single purpose notebook authoring assistant, and something that allows you to do more tasks that aren't necessarily related to coding.
That's interesting, and I'm curious to know, how did you work with the notebooks team? Because I know that we have an awesome integration. For example, now you can just go and write down /explain, and it will automatically trigger the assistant to explain the query. How does it work?
Well, my team works on the notebook, and we work on our SQL editor. We own all of our authoring surfaces, so it's actually quite easy because they sit right next to me. I'm able to really get them to think about ways that this assistant interacts with all of our editing surfaces. So, yeah, a big part of our philosophy with the assistant, especially on authoring surfaces, we want to remove toil. We want to help resolve problems that customers hit every single day faster, better. Maybe you aren't familiar with the latest syntax, or maybe you have an error in a Databricks runtime that you need to resolve. These are things that people hit all the time, which slows them down. And so a big thing for us is trying to identify those like targeted pain points that people hit over and over and over again, and really optimizing around those flows. So yeah, we have a lot of new things coming out, but really we're about just making data scientists, machine learning engineers, SQL analysts a lot more productive writing code and queries inside Databricks.
Yeah, and just this month, I think it released some features like about possibility to find tables from the assistant or find queries, like improve the or prettify. I'm more struggling with this word, like improve the format or for format code readability, renaming, and also the settings. So can you, like, before moving to the roadmap, can you show us a demo for folks who have never used the assistant?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull up my screen here, and we'll kind of walk through. I have a demo that showcases more than just the assistant. Kind of demos some of our other AI powered features in Databricks, but they're all related. And so we'll jump into this right now. This is I have a table. I downloaded the top 1,000 IMDb movies in a CSV file. I uploaded it to Databricks. And the first thing you'll notice here is that, when I uploaded this file, all of the table descriptions and the comments, they hadn't been added yet. And really, metadata is a really key part to how all our assistant works and how a lot of these AI systems really provide more accurate, relevant answers. Is you really need quality metadata. So one of the things that I clicked over here is this AI generate comments, and I actually used it to generate all of the comments here. And rather than accept one, I just kind of wanted to show a few examples. But this makes documenting your data assets extremely easy. You hit AI generate. This is actually running off of a fine-tuned Databricks hosted model. We used Mosaic AI tuning. We used a bunch of synthetic data to add descriptions for common column names. And what's really neat about this whole feature is that once you use these AI generated comments, you save them in there, they're indexed by our search system. And so I can start to go up here and ask questions like, where is my movies table? And we'll click over here. This is our new full page search results. But something that we've added for tables is that we actually support natural language queries. And so when I actually type this in, a few things are happening. One, we aren't just doing a keyword match. Like, movies will show up here, but honestly, if I go up here and I type film, that will also return this result. And we use relevancy. We use like a lot of signals. The fact that I use the word "my" in here gives you personalized search results. So this really, like, the assistant in a lot of these AI systems end up boiling down to search and retrieval problems. So we're really excited to continue advancing this and display relevant information. But what's nice about this is that we've integrated search, as you mentioned, directly into the assistant. So if I open it up here, I don't actually need to leave my authoring experience in order to find the tables. I can ask the same sort of question, like, where is my movies table? And this calls the same semantic search API on the back end. You can see that my table is returned here. And then I can ask it to query, ask it to specify this table. And you can go in here and say, things like query the first 10 rows. And it will use context from the table that I've selected. It will send it off to our models, and it will turn accurate text to SQL. And what's really actually neat about our assistant is it is itself a notebook. So results that come back here are actually executable code. So this runs as part of your cluster, it runs as part of your compute, and you can see results in here. It also makes it really easy to go put it into a cell over here if you wanted to and run it there. But the fact that you can use the assistant like a notebook makes it really, really, really easy to iterate, especially as you start to refine questions and refine queries and get more accurate text to SQL. So So, one of the other things you can do is rather than even using the side panel, you can come in here, and we have an inline assistant. You can click this button here, or you can click the generate tab, and you can just ask it directly inline now. And this is a code first or a SQL first experience, and you can say things like, what are the top genres, and our assistant will go and generate a query. You can actually run it before accepting, just to test that the results look good. And yes, this looks great. I can accept this query now, and you can see that drama is the most popular movie genre that we have in this sample data set. Probably not a huge surprise. A lot of the top 1,000 movies are dramas. And now I can start asking more interesting questions. So I can do things like, what are the top 10 longest runtime movies? And then runtime is actually a string, and like one of the things I can tell it is, runtime is a string that looks like 99 minutes, and the assistant will generate the appropriate casting code for me. And what's really cool is I can put this in my metadata. It will get this correct. Let's go ahead and run this example, and you'll see that it actually parsed it correctly. So when it does the order bys and the sorts, it's actually using the integer values for the strings rather than doing string comparison. So this just makes it really easy to go and iterate over code and cast it. Date manipulations is a really common use case that we see from customers as well. So I want to demo a few other things. About a few months ago, we launched a feature called Assistant Autocomplete. And for those that are familiar with, Copilot style autocomplete as you type, that's the experience we were trying to build. And this is, it works for Python, it works for SQL as well. And so I can ask it a question. So I can say write a query to find drama movies with a rating greater than 8.0. And you'll see that the assistant starts to auto fill in my answers for me as I am typing. This is a really powerful form of auto completion that takes into account code snippets that you've used, popular tables, maybe ones that you've favorited. And we feed this all to a Databricks hosted and Databricks tuned model that runs really close to our customers. So a key tenet of this whole system is that everything is returned in less than a second. We have to have really, really fast latency for this. So we're really excited about this. A lot of customers have loved this feature. It just really aids in the speed you're able to write code and write queries inside Databricks. And then finally, I just wanted to sort of show we're doing more than just code authoring. A big part of using the assistant is actually coming in here and seeing other ways in which we can leverage AI to help you, let's say, document your code cells. So maybe you want to clean up your notebook before sending it off to other folks at your company. And so now you can come in here and see that you have a table of contents. We've also added a lot of these slash commands. So these are really simple. You were mentioning Prettify earlier, but we have a number of these now where these are just quick shortcuts, like common tasks that we see developers using every day. So a common one that we see is people want to add comments to their coding queries, maybe clean it up before they check it into Get. So these are really helpful utilities that you can invoke through the assistant, and we're working on a number of more things there. So that's a quick demo. I did actually want to jump. You had mentioned what's coming next. I have some slides on roadmap. These are features that we'll be launching over the next the next quarter, so the next couple months or so, and things that I'm pretty excited about. The first is that we're moving this assistant to other pages. One of the first user journeys that we're working through is diagnosing job failures. This is a common case. We see people hit syntax issues, see people hit runtime issues. We really want to make our assistant helpful. So diagnosing jobs will let you open up the assistant on a jobs failure page. You'll get a fix for it. You can go back into your notebook or change your cluster configuration to go and fix that. And we're really hoping that people get a lot of value out of automating job failures through the assistant. And then assistant quick fix. So it should be rolling out actually now, and so customers will probably start seeing this pretty soon. What we noticed when people were hitting diagnose error is that the vast majority of them were just simple typos. Maybe you had a trailing comma. Maybe you misspelled the column name that you were trying to use. So we really tuned our prompts and offer this very low latency quick fix experience that picks up things like syntax errors, misspelled table column names, things like missing imports, group by statements. You were mentioning that as well, and it's really optimized for speed. So we want this to be fixed in less than 1 to 3 seconds. You shouldn't have to take your hands off the keyboard. This is really just about an autocorrect as you type experience, and we're really excited to set that out there and see how people react to it. This is something we're also working through, is optimizing queries. Now, LLMs are not the best tool for really deep query optimization, but they can help with a bunch of simple fixes that we see lots and lots and lots of SQL users hitting. The biggest one for us is windowing over, making sure that you have where clauses for windowing and partition keys, those types of things. And so the goal of this feature is to really, let users run it. If we notice a query is taking a long time, we can suggest autocomplete. We can suggest optimization fixes, maybe limiting the number of rows or maybe reducing the amount of data that's queried as part of it. So another one that's going to be coming out in the next couple months or so, and we're really working through and trying to figure out those use cases that work well for this. Assistant usage reporting. So a lot of customers have asked for just information about how it's being used inside their company. So we now have Assistant integrated into our system tables, so you can go and query usage across your account or workspaces. We also have pre-built dashboards. This is Lakeview. I should update it to AI BI dashboards that provide insights about who is using the Assistant across your workspaces. And then lastly, the big thing for us is, a lot of customers want to use only Databricks hosted models. And so we've been really working hard on spinning up open source models that are fine-tuned using Databricks samples and queries, and running these on Databricks infrastructure within your governed estate. So for customers that don't necessarily want to use Azure OpenAI or send cross-cloud traffic, this is a really good option for it. This is in private preview right now, and it will be going to public preview pretty soon. So yeah, that's like a quick overview of what we have coming up in the next couple months. I always love to hear feedback from customers and users about the types of things that we can help with the most.
I think half of the thing you mentioned are something that speaks to me because I do a lot of mistakes while coding, and I've been using those features because they're enabled for us before the customers. I've been benefiting from them for a very, very long time, and to be honest, I got used to them. So those are really tiny, let's say, features, but they do change the a lot, or they improve a lot the productivity. So maybe for now you're not used to them, so for you it's gonna be just something on the top, but trust me, it's gonna change a lot the way you see your perceived notebooks, and that's why trust notebooks are very interesting. I know not everyone is fan of notebooks. Sometimes others prefer VS Code, but trust me, Assistant plus notebooks are, I think, the product that are getting the fastest improvements. You've seen, I think, if you're familiar with the channel, you've probably seen Jason, who is also working on the notebook experience, and how they added the debugging experience, its interaction with the assistant. So this is where we need to go. And last question for you, Weston. What about the pricing for the assistant now? I'm talking about the current situation.
So the assistant is free. It's available at no additional charge. And a big reason for that is we wanted these features to be available for everyone. Everyone we've talked to that's used them, even internally, it's really funny to hear you speak so fondly of the features. It's really hard to go back once you use them. I've been in workspaces where the assistant's been turned off, and I was like, please, how do I turn it back on? And so a key tenet for us is that we wanted this to be free and available at no charge for all of our customers. We really want everyone to be more productive inside Databricks.
I think that was clear. So, and if you're not using the assistant, go enable it and start using it. And trust me, There is no going back. You're gonna love it. Thank you so much, Weston, for all the interesting information you shared with us. And maybe we're gonna see you in 6 months to showcase all the new features.
Yeah, I'd love to be back. We have a lot more stuff that we're brewing up right now, so we'd love to come back and show all the new stuff in about 6 months.